In this video I'm going to talk about some of the new features in RightBooth 7.9.12. First I want to talk about the new photo segment effects that are in the video enhancements section, so let's have a look at that. Go into the designer, event structure, video enhancements. Now let's take a look at the reference video I'm using for this demonstration. It's just this 5-second spinner video. So this is the source video. Now what I want to do is enhance this with some photo effects. So what I'll do is I'll add some segments. I'm going to start with 0 to 25%, which is the first quarter of the video, which I'll play at full speed, normal speed. Then I'm going to take a photo, so at 25%, which is quarter of the way through, I'm going to take a flash photo. And as you can see, RightBooth has automatically set the photo length to be 0.6 seconds. Now this value here can be anything from 0.1 to 4 seconds. And that effectively says how long the photo will be shown in the enhanced video. So I'll leave it at 0.6. With the flash photo and the photo effects, the speed is irrelevant and also the color is irrelevant. So you just need a position within the actual video itself and how long you want the photo to be displayed. So let's add some more segments. So after the photo I'm going to play from 25, let's say, to 30% at normal speed, and then I'll add another photo. Let's do another flash photo. Let's do one more segment. Let's go from 30 to 35, again at normal speed, and then another photo. This is the third photo, and finally I'll play from 35 to 50, which is halfway through the video. So I'm just using the first half of the video and I'm breaking it up with 3 flash photos. So let's have a look at that. So as you can see, the video is playing at normal speed, but it's broken up by the 3 flash photos. Now the only difference between flash photo and normal photo is you don't get the flash. So let's just change that one to photo and let's see what happens. First one flashes, second one doesn't, third one does. So the middle one I might want to expand on the time that it's shown, so let's make that 3 seconds. So we have a flash photo, a 3-second still photo, and another flash photo. A couple of other things to mention about video enhancements. They are now more accurate when you have very short videos. So for instance, on the 5-second video, you'll get much more accuracy when you define your segments. And the other thing is, with colours you now get a couple of extra options. You've got white and you've also got flash. So you can now apply white and flash colours to various video segments. One final thing to mention is the video segments toolbox. So let's just describe each one. We can add segments with this button. We can delete segments. Now if you just hit the delete button, it asks you to select one or more rows. To do that, you can select the rows in this column here. Now if you want to select multiple rows, you can drag down the column with the mouse. If you want to select all of the rows, you can click in this cell and everything's selected. And if you just want to select 2 or 3 rows that are not close together, you can hold the control key down on the keyboard and then click in the various cells to select various rows that are not actually together. This button here allows you to move segments up the table, selected segments. This allows you to move selected segment rows down the table. Now, these 2 buttons are load and save buttons for saving your segment designs to disk. So for instance, I could save this one now as a file. I've got save and I've got save as. So if I click save as, I can choose the name and save it as a file here, and they're just text files, and they're actually saved into the RightBooth media library under a folder called video segments, but you can place them anywhere else you like on your machine. And obviously over time you can build up your own sets of segment files that you can then load and save into your other events. So hopefully you'll find that very useful. The next thing to talk about is running multiple instances of RightBooth. Now, I've been asked this a number of times now about how to automate running multiple instances. Now, at the moment, in versions before 7.9.12, you have to manually start the second instance. So if I double click RightBooth again, I first of all get this message asking whether I want to run it. You say yes, and RightBooth will come up as instance number 2. And as you can see in my instance 2, I'm running a sharing station. So I've got this event playing in instance 1 and a sharing station playing in instance 2. And so I've been asked whether it's possible to automate the startup of both of these. It's probably useful when you're powering up your PC and you want to start running both of these events at the same time. So how do we do that? So let me just shut this down. There is a new setting for going here, start stop, and if you look in this section here when RightBooth starts, at the bottom there's a checkbox for starting another instance. So if I tick that, now remember I'm ticking that option in instance number 1. Now what that means is that when RightBooth starts the first instance and it's fully up and running, the first instance will automatically start the second instance, and it will start up the sharing station event in this case. So let me exit. So I'm going to run it from the desktop icon. So here we go, running RightBooth. Here's the first instance, and I'll just move it to one side so you can see that RightBooth is now firing up the second instance, and here it is. So obviously if you go into the second instance, it's got its own settings. Let's go to the start stop. This one is not set to run another instance, but you could tick this one so that the second instance runs a third instance. It's entirely up to you. So you're basically allowing RightBooth to chain the startup of multiple instances of RightBooth if you wish. Also, if you couple that with the play current event, then RightBooth will fire up the instances and also play the events automatically. So you can have a totally automated process at startup time if you wish. Finally, I'd just like to mention a few minor changes and fixes that have been introduced in this version. I'll show you on one of the screens here. So the first one is the action tabs on the screen editor properties toolbox, which replaces the action radio buttons. What do I mean by that? Let's have a look at properties. Now down here are the actions that can be applied to the screen. Now prior to this change we were showing 2 radio buttons here, which I think was confusing people. I hope this is a little bit more clear. Basically every screen and every item on every screen can have 2 actions. It can have a click action and a show action, and you can toggle between the 2 to see what they're set to. So when you set a show action, say type contents, for instance. RightBooth remembers that show action for the screen that you're on. You can also have a click action, and if you notice now, there's a little asterisk put next to the show action tab, which lets you know that there is actually a show action on this screen. So I hope that's a little bit more clear for you. One other thing to mention is that there's been some optimizations made in RightBooth for GoPro routines, and it's applicable to version 1.5.0 of the Camera Tools app, which was released at the start of January. So it might be worth just getting hold of the latest version of the Camera Tools app and running it in conjunction with RightBooth version 7.9.12 or later. And the final thing I'd like to mention is that the RightBooth change flag is now more accurate, which means that RightBooth will not prompt you to save an event file when it doesn't actually need saving. And that's the new features in version 7.9.12. And thanks for watching.